2023 is now officially over. And with that, I was able to watch 66 movies that came out in 2023. And I'm gonna give you guys, in my opinion, the top 10 best movies of this year. And before I start, I just want to remind you guys that this is just my opinion. Everyone has different opinions. Leave yours down below. I would love to see it. And if you want to see my ranking of all 66 movies I watched this year, in the description below, I'm going to put a link to my Letterboxd where you guys can check out on my Letterboxd my full ranking of all 66 movies I watched in 2023. And also, this year was pretty good for movies. And throughout this year, when I watched the movie, I put it onto the list of where I wanted it to be. So the top 10 I'm about to say to you is I firmly agree that this is my top 10 movies I watched. And if a movie's not on this list, I didn't see it. I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet. I want to, but I haven't. So, that's not on this list. My New Year's resolution of 2023 was to review every single movie I watched. Even if it came out in January and I watched it in December, I had to review it still, even if no one would watch the video. And I did just that. So, if you want to see my full review for each movie I'm gonna say on this list, you can... I don't know if I'm going to put the link in the description or not, but you can find them on my channels. Without further ado, I don't do honorable mentions. Let's go to number 10. And in 10th place, we have a hot take, so most of you guys will probably leave the video here, but this was surprising to me. So in 10th place, we have Transformers Rise of the Beast. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys do not love this movie, but for me, I'm not a Transformers fan. I do not like the Transformer movies. Bumblebee was my favorite, but I do not like the Transformer movies. And when I watched this movie, I was extremely surprised. This is probably, if I were to say, this is probably the most I've been surprised for a movie this year. I was shocked after I watched this movie. This is definitely one of my favorites of the year. I find it to be funny. I find it to be the best Transformers movie we have. And just everything to do with this movie really works for me. Say what you want about the movie. This is definitely one of my favorites of the year. And I know a lot of you guys probably clicked off the video by this point, but this is definitely one of my favorites of the year due to the comedy and how surprised I am of this movie. Now, I have not rewatched the movie since, but I'm sure my opinion will stay the same on this movie. I really enjoyed this movie, and it was a huge surprise for me. In 9th place, we have Godzilla Minus One. Now, when it comes to Godzilla Minus One, I was not planning on watching this movie. I don't want to say I hate, but I do not like the Godzilla movies that we get, like Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla King of Monsters, those kind of movies. I do not like those movies. They're not my thing. The trailer for Godzilla X Kong came out, and everyone's saying that this is their most anticipated movie of the year, and I do not see that at all. That trailer looked not interesting whatsoever, and yeah, I'm not excited for that movie. So I was not planning to watch this movie, but then I heard all these amazing reviews about the movie saying this is the best movie of the year. That right there made me go watch this movie, because I'm not a Godzilla person, but if those reviews are coming out, I'm watching the movie. And obviously that's what it is, because it's in my top 10 best movies of the year. When it comes to Godzilla Minus One, it focuses on the humans. And this time, the humans are actually interesting. That when Godzilla comes on screen, you're actually worried for the characters you're watching. Unlike the American versions, where that is not the case at all. But this time around, that's the case. And I loved it. I love what they did with this movie. I'm surprised. And the way this movie ends, try not to spoil it. If they do a sequel, I'm down for it. I'm definitely watching that opening night, because the way this movie was able to handle everything, I was interested in these characters and everything they did with this movie. A movie that I was not planning on watching turned out to be one of my favorites of the year. And I am so glad I watched this movie, because Godzilla looks amazing. And everything's so amazing about this movie. And yeah, this is probably going to win Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars. Just saying that right now. That will be my guess. But yeah, if you guys did not watch this movie yet because you don't like Godzilla, I highly recommend it. Now, if you don't watch it because it's in a different language, I understand that part. But yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. In 8th place, we have Barbie, and I never expected to say that. When it comes to Barbie, the reason why it's not like higher on my list is because just like you know the themes. Obviously, this movie wasn't made for me, but that's why it's not really higher. But just everything else they do with this movie, I find to be really funny. I liked how they're like kind of making fun of both sides here. The movie references like the Space Odyssey at the beginning of the movie. Come on, and then yeah, just I like what they did with this movie. I mean, like, yes, I do admit I'm obviously not the target for this movie, but this, like, Barbenheimer, that's obviously boosts this movie up on its own. That was just fun. And then, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I haven't rewatched it, well, I've seen it twice. I haven't rewatched it since. So, maybe my opinion could change, but Ryan Gosling in this movie is definitely the standout. I'm excited for the Fall Guy next year because Ryan Gosling, this is my first movie that I watched with Ryan Gosling in it, and I'm sold on him. Yeah, for Barbie, the Ken side of the movie is the side I really like. I like everything to do with that side of the movie. It just, yeah, this movie worked on that side. The Barbie side, not so much, but definitely the Ken side. This makes it in 8th place. In 7th place, we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, yeah, I haven't seen this movie since. Again, disclaimer, I haven't seen it since. But this movie, yeah, this is probably one of the best Mission Impossible movies. Now, Fallout is better. But, yeah, this movie I still really like. I like the plot in here with AI. I feel like it really worked. Yeah, I'm excited for part 2 as well. I think that's coming out in 2025 now, which I'm sad it was delayed. But when this movie came out, I watched the Mission Impossible franchise for the first time, and yeah, I fell in love with the franchise. I can't believe I missed out on it. All the practical effects in this movie as well, with Tom Cruise on the motorcycle, the train, everything looked amazing. Everything was amazing about this movie. And yeah, if you don't watch the Mission Impossible franchise, I recommend it. This movie was really good. Now, it's not the best of the franchise. This is why it's not higher on this list. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. In 6th place, we have Scream 6. Now, say what you want about this movie, but this movie wasn't going to be this high until I rewatched it. Like, I don't know how long ago back it was, but I rewatched it. And yeah, my opinion like went up higher for this movie. So that's why it's in 6th place now. Before it wasn't even going to be on this list. But I rewatched it and it drastically went up because of that. And just I love what they did with this movie. I love the New York setting. And I love the characters in here. Now Scream 7 though, that's I'm surprised that movie's not canceled yet. But with Scream 6, I love what they brought to the core 4. Now, when I say this, a lot of you guys don't like the killer review, but I liked it, even though the killers are not fair to guess. But, well, one's not fair to guess, one's obvious, but I kind of keep that in mind when going into Scream. I just really enjoyed this slasher film of Scream. It's not the best in the franchise of Scream, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely in the top 3 for my ranking of all the Scream movies, and it's in 6th place of the year. In 5th place, we have The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now, when it comes to this movie is so accurate to the book. I read the book. It's definitely one of my favorites in the entire Hunger Games franchise. In fact, this movie is my favorite in the entire Hunger Games franchise. Just everything to do with this movie, with Coriolanus Snow, just everything to do with that. And they have Lucy Gray, like, her voice is Rachel Zegler, is an amazing singer. And just the way this movie is able to tackle everything great about the book and bring it into the movie and show the rise of Snow. I really enjoyed this movie. I want to rewatch it, just especially that last shot of the movie as well. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But that last shot of the movie was really spectacle. Yeah, if you have not seen this movie yet, what are you doing? This is the best Hunger Games movie in the entire franchise. Go watch this movie. It's incredible. For this last 4 on this list, basically all of these are in the same spot. They're in the same placement. But how I rank these movies, like 4 and 3, I only seen once, and then 2 and 1 I seen multiple times. So basically, these movies are ranked depending on how much I rewatched them throughout this year. So in fourth place, we have John Wick Chapter 4. Now, like I only seen this movie once, which was when I watched it for the first time. But wow, was this the best John Wick movie out of all of them? Now, I wasn't a huge fan of 2 and 3, but this movie drastically made that way higher than it actually was. And I fell in love with this movie. The ending they had with this movie as well. My opinion on that without spoiling it. John Wick 5 does not need to come out. It'll ruin this ending. And yeah, this movie is amazing. The action scenes were phenomenal. And yeah, the way the movie's able to choreograph the music, the action, Keanu Reeves as John Wick is amazing. Yeah, my only problem with this movie is that it didn't really... It rewrote everything from the third movie. So that movie's kind of not important. But everything else I really loved. I really love what they did with this movie. The reason why it's in fourth place, like I said, is because I only watched it once. Movies in second and first place, basically those are ranked on how much I rewatched them. But this movie, yeah, I love it. I love this movie. Definitely on rewatch, this movie will definitely keep going higher and higher on my list. Before I say my top 3, make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment down below your thoughts, follow my letterboxd called The Code Man Movies, and in third place we have Oppenheimer. Yeah, when it comes to Oppenheimer, yeah, this is... I don't want to say this is Christopher Nolan's best movie, because I haven't seen them all. Yeah, I know, shocking, but just since I only seen this movie once, all the stuff I missed first time watching it, I feel like on rewatch will make it stronger. Like, I bought the movie today. I want to rewatch it so badly, but I don't have time right now, but I want to rewatch it. I have it right here. But yeah, I'm sure the moment I rewatch this movie, it will go in first place. But for right now, I have only seen it once, and the movies above this I have rewatched multiple times by this point. This movie stays in third place, but by tomorrow when I watch Oppenheimer, this movie is definitely going to be a number 1. But for currently, right now, I'm going to stay in third place, because in second place we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a hot take. This is my least favorite Guardians movie. Yeah, that's a hot take right there, but James Gunn was able to close out the Guardians. He was able to end this story of the MCU. Now, they might return in the Avengers or something, but James Gunn was able to close this movie out beautifully. And the Rocket story in here, James Gunn was able to handle, bring that emotional core to it. Chris Pratt, during a certain scene in this movie, definitely got me because of his acting in here was amazing. And I liked what they did with this movie. Now, like I said, hot take, this is my least favorite Guardians movie. I feel like the music is not as memorable. Even though I have the soundtrack right here, this is not my favorite soundtrack of the Guardians movies. But yeah, even though this is my least favorite Guardians movie, it shows how good this trilogy is. Because this movie is in second place of the year, and it was an amazing close-off to these characters that we all love. But in first place, this should come and shock to no one, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Yeah. Now, my only problem with this movie is that it's a part 1. That's my only problem with this movie. But on rewatch, since my review came out and stuff, this movie has no problems for me. It's an amazing movie. Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be amazing. And just this build up the movie had the entire time. Some people may say it's extremely slow. Not me. This movie flies by every time I watch it. Animation is beautiful, especially on 4K. And every time it's in a different universe as well, the animation is able to change and match that universe. That's the magic of having it animated. And just, it also has that comic book feel to it. It has an amazing story that's going to conclude in Beyond the Spider-Verse amazingly. And just, yeah, this movie is amazing. I have no problems with it, but it's not a 10 out of 10 for me. Just because it's a part 1 and we don't know how the movie concludes. But if Beyond the Spider-Verse is amazing, this movie could easily be a 10 out of 10 for me. but it's not a 10 out of 10 yet because we don't know how the story concludes. If the story concludes in the worst way possible, then this movie goes down. But if Beyond the Spider-Verse is amazing, which it probably will be, this movie will definitely probably be a 10 out of 10, which makes it the best movie of the year. That was my ranking of my top 10 best movies in my opinion of 2023. Your opinion's different. Leave in the comments your opinion because I will love to see it. Just a reminder, I have a review out for every single one of these movies if you wanted to check that out. And if you wanted to see my ranking of every single movie I watched this year, link to my Letterboxd is in the description. And you can go to my list and see all 66 movies I watched ranked. This year was pretty good for movies. It's packed. And yeah, this year's done already. I can't believe it flies by. It always flies by, but yeah. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. And I will see you guys all next time. Goodbye.